Welcome to Lunch and Learn with Dr. V and Tina Greenbaum. Tina is a world-leading coach, psychotherapist, licensed clinical social worker. She has a 35-year history of eating disorders, back when there was no treatment for eating disorders. So it's such an honor and privilege to have her today. She now works with high-level CEOs, athletes, Olympic-level athletes, and actors and actresses, some of whom you would know their names. So it's an honor and privilege to spend this Lunch and Learn with Tina Greenbaum. Yay! Welcome on in. Welcome on in.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Go ahead. We have a great topic today: transfer addictions.
Yes.
Now, I looked it up on the Obesity Action Coalition website. They say that it's estimated that up to 30% of people who've had weight loss surgery now suffer from some form of transfer addiction. So in your 35-year history of working with obesity patients, did you notice that when you were treating them clinically? Did you see a transfer addiction pattern?
Well, to start out with, yeah. I mean, a lot of times there are multiple addictions, or sometimes we call it dual diagnosis. There's obesity diagnosis, and then there's a diagnosis of alcoholism or drug abuse. Or
let's start off with what is the definition of a transfer addiction?
Well, let's just start out with what's an addiction.
Okay.
Right? Because the definition that I use and I've learned, and I haven't proven it anything else, but is always about feelings that we don't want to feel. And so we transfer these feelings onto some other object or subject. So we talk about compulsions or activities that we repeat over and over again, or obsessions of thoughts that we think over and over again. So something becomes an addiction when it occupies a lot of our time and energy. So typically, let's say that we eat a meal, we're hungry, we eat, we think about eating, and then the food is over, and then we go on to whatever we're doing, and then the body begins to remind us again that we're hungry again. And so that's sort of a normal pattern. But when we think about the food, when we get up in the morning, we think about it while we're eating, we think about it after we're done.
But doesn't it also have to affect your life negatively?
Yeah, it does. Well, it does. I mean, yes. That's exactly right. It does. When you think about any kind of addiction, it interferes with a quality life, functioning really at a high level. Yes.
So what's a transfer addiction then?
So a transfer addiction, let's just say we take away the addiction to food, because now we've had this weight loss surgery and we know that we need to eat small amounts. But we haven't done the emotional, and you will see me do this a million times, we haven't done this emotional work underneath. And so we still don't know how to deal with our feelings. We're still trying to block them. We're still trying to do something other than deal with them. So we transfer it to something else. Well, if I'm not going to, the alcoholics are really kind of famous for this. They'll stop drinking, right? And then but they haven't done the emotional work. So we call them like dry drunks. And so it could be anything. It could be exercise. Somebody was asking about coffee creamer. Anything that becomes obsessive. Obsessive is really kind of the key, that we just think about it all the time. And we go to a particular substance or an activity to kind of occupy the time.
I see weight loss surgery patients who thinks it's harmless, but before they know it, they're drinking 3 or 4 Starbucks a day.
Correct.
And they're looking forward to their 4 p.m. Starbucks pickup or treat or reward.
Yes.
Would that be
so when you think about it, coffee addiction has a certain chemical response. It's so you've got a double addiction. Again, you've got the obsession with the coffee, and then you have the pickup, the adrenaline pumping that is an amphetamine basically, and then the body gets addicted to it. So we get headaches if we don't drink the coffee, and it just kind of snowballs.
Okay.
Kind of goes over.
So So let me ask you this question. In the weight loss surgery community, as these patients are losing weight really rapidly, they
Mm-hmm.
have to really try to, like, they have to find new clothes to wear.
Exactly.
And so my question is buying new clothes a new addiction, or is it a necessity from the weight loss? Like, where's the line? Where's the
Well,
fine line?
you said it earlier that it becomes intrusive into your
Mm,
life. So I just lost some weight, which was kind of cool, and I had to buy new clothes, and I went and I bought new clothes, and
uh-huh.
this is a new jacket, you know,
Yeah,
and a dress that fit before I gained the weight. So,
right.
but I'm not obsessed about it. You know, I'm
Mm,
not thinking about it all the time.
mm-hmm,
And so it doesn't really interfere with the rest of my life.
mm-hmm.
Workaholics. I bet you and I might fit in a little
Yeah, I
bit
might be held in.
category, a little bit into that category. And
You
if,
know,
go ahead.
that's actually a good lead into my next question, which is, is there such a thing as a good addiction? Like I like my work. What's so wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. There really is
Okay.
nothing wrong with it if it does not interfere with your relationships, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with raising your
Well,
child,
okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you might enjoy it, but at the same time, if you were single and you had nobody else to, you know, respond to or connect to, and you were still taking care of your body, and it worked for you, and you know, we don't. I always say that
Mm-hmm.
we don't like to fix things that are not broken. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to know about everything about your history.
So a lot of high performing doctors,
Mm-hmm.
CEOs, etc., they work really hard, but their health is a mess and their relationships
That's
are a
right.
mess, they're about to have a divorce. They don't
That's
see their
right.
kids grow up. So in that case, would you say that the working is excessive and
Yes.
is an addiction?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not here to judge anybody, but if
Mm-hmm.
you look about what it is that you want in your life, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody gets to choose pretty much
Mm-hmm.
how they want their lives to be. And if without even an addiction, you know, if I chose to be in a relationship, I choose to have children, I accept the children's, I accept the responsibility with that.
Okay.
And, you know, if I don't want to be neglectful of it, I have to figure out a way to manage it all.
Yeah. So the common ones that I see are the question about the shopping, is that a transfer addiction? And then
Hmm.
alcohol seems to be a big thing
Big
after
one.
weight loss surgery.
Yeah.
Did you see that a lot when you
Well, when
were?
we think about alcohol and the composition of alcohol, okay, and
Hmm.
again, you're the you know, the chemist part of this relationship here, but you know that alcoholism and sugar are incredibly close in terms of the molecular structure,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so if we give up the sugar in the food, we might
Hmm.
find that the sugar in the alcohol gives us the same kind of kick, except it has, yeah, no, same thing. You know, it's a big rise and then a big fall.
Hmm.
And then, and it is addictive. The more that you use it, the more used to your body gets used to it, and then the more you want. And so it's a very easy transfer.
Hmm.
It's sugar, alcoholism, compulsive overeating, and depression,
Hmm.
in my experience, go very much hand in hand.
I think so too. I see that a lot.
A lot,
Yeah.
a lot. And
So
clinical depression.
which is the chicken or the egg question? Does
I
the
knew you were going to ask that.
depression come first?
I
Or does
do
the
believe,
obesity lead to depression? Or
you know, I don't know what comes first. And depression that we're kind of talking about is depression where the serotonin level is really low. It's not just I've had a bad day and I'm feeling really badly, and
Mhm.
somebody will say, "Oh, you know, well, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and come on, let's get moving."
Mhm.
And anybody who has suffered from real depression knows that it's really, really, really
Yeah.
hard. You know, and the thoughts
It's
get really dark, and so
mhm.
when you're in that state and your mental condition is in that state, it's really hard to do any of the
Mhm.
things that we're talking about in terms of really having the cognition to do the mental work.
I agree with you there. There's definitely a relationship between clinical depression, like severe depression, like you're talking about, obesity, and other sort of behaviors. And also some of the medications cause obesity too, cause people to gain weight. But I feel like in the modern society, we've gotten kind of like where we just let everything get us down, and these
Hmm.
everyday blues seems to be a justification for us to
I
self-soothe,
agree.
as you
I
said,
agree.
self-soothe with food, and now you're caught in that vicious cycle.
I agree. So one of the best definitions I ever heard of depression is
Hmm.
called depressed presence.
Ooh, I
So
love that.
I love that too. I didn't make it up.
Depressed presence.
Presence.
Mm,
So if I'm
okay.
living a life that is really not my life by design, and I've gotten your quizzes from so many of your followers, and
Hmm.
my heart breaks, honestly, when I hear like how their lives are in the present and then what the dream and the wish is.
Hmm.
We're just not living our lives.
Right.
And so that's depressing.
Right.
That's depressing. And so when you get that combination of, you might have this propensity towards depression, and you're not living your life, and money's in short supply and things are in short supply, it
Hmm.
is a snowball effect.
Hmm. Yeah, and losing the weight by itself doesn't fix it, right?
No, it does not fix it. I,
Because
I
that's
wish that it did, but it doesn't.
right. So we think, and a lot of patients think that they have weight loss surgery, that somehow it all gets better. If I could just have my
I
surgery,
know,
Dr.
I
Vuong, if I
know.
could just get my insurance to prove it, it's all going to get better. But I don't think it does. And in many ways, it gets worse, is what I try to
Yeah,
warn patients.
yeah, because now I might be even really attractive to
Mm.
people, and people are going to want things from me that I couldn't hide before, that would hide.
I think losing the weight really exposes all your flaws and
It does.
faults and
I
all
agree.
your insecurities.
I
All
agree.
your insecurities, right? I think it brings it
Absolutely.
to the forefront. So if you're insecure about your looks and now you're getting looks from men,
Hmm.
and I took away their number one coping mechanism, eating,
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
right?
That's
So now what
exactly
do
right.
they do?
That's
So now what
exactly
do
right.
they have to do?
Well, this is the quandary, and this is kind of what we've been talking about. We have to. I don't want to say it in a negative way, but we have to grow up. We have to
Mm-hmm.
use more grown-up mechanisms to defend ourselves from getting hurt than we did
Mm-hmm.
from when we were children.
Mm-hmm.
So, defense mechanisms, and overeating is a defense mechanism.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm.
Saying I'm not enough about something, if only I were thinner, if only I were prettier, if only I had more
Mm-hmm.
money, these are mechanisms to defend ourselves against, oh my God, really, what do I do with these feelings? So
Mm-hmm.
we can't take away a defense mechanism without putting a healthier one in its place. And this is where the conundrum comes in. All right, I want to take away the overeating, I want to take away the weight, but I haven't done the work to,
Mm.
like, well, what do I do when I get frustrated? What do I do when I get stressed out? What do I do when somebody's mad at me? What do I do when my kids are driving me
Mm.
crazy? All these things that we have to learn how to communicate effectively.
I
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get back to I'll come back to like what do we do, because I
Mm-hmm.
like to have my viewers like have a very leave with a very practical tip.
Mm-hmm.
But the third addiction, transfer addiction, I see a lot. So we have shopping, we have alcohol, and then hypersexuality,
Mm-hmm.
hypersexism. A lot of relationships, bad relationships, new relationships.
Right.
Where does that stem from?
Well, again, if we talk about what feels good, sex hopefully feels good. And if we haven't found something else to help,
Not always.
not always, I said hopefully, I didn't say always. And again, there's a lot of things that are connected to being sexual, and
Yeah.
lots. It's another heavily
Well,
laden.
the loose skin part, if you've lost massive amounts of weight and you have loose skin, it leads to body image issues,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
then, interestingly enough, some women like flaunt it in their hypersexuality, and some people cringe from their sexual relationships because of the loose skin.
Again, everybody perceives themselves in some way, shape, form, or another. It all comes from their own belief system around it. If I think
Mm-hmm.
that this is beautiful and I'm very proud of it,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to be okay with it. If I think it's really
Mm-hmm.
awful, then I'm going to have a really hard time with it. Either way, we want to find a healthy relationship with the body, you know, with the loose skin, without the loose skin, you know, that in some way or another that we're in relationship, that we get to feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, you know, I always tell, I have this saying, boys are bad. You know, I don't want my patients getting into new relationships. Because I feel like they really need to do the personal deep work, figure out who they are, their new person. And that's much more important. But yet I get so many patients and followers that have surgery, lose 80 pounds, and suddenly they're in a new relationship, and then suddenly, oops, I'm pregnant. And now it's a whole nother,
I know.
you know, quandary.
I know. But if we look
So,
at the theme of what you're talking about, it's always about substituting something else without, let's go back to that dry drunk, because I think that that's a kind of a really great description. You know, when I'm angry, I'm super angry. My feelings are intensified because I haven't built up a healthy way, you know, a healthy ego, a healthy way of living in the world, that I feel really empowered and really in control of my life. And so when you say that, it's just the unconsciousness. I get into another relationship, I get pregnant, I'm not paying attention. I'm not being mindful, I'm not being aware, which is the same thing of how people get into this compulsive overeating.
Right. I'm not paying attention.
I'm not paying attention.
Okay. So let's talk about some things they need to be paying attention to. So what's a sign? Maybe what's a first early sign that maybe something's becoming bad, a compulsive or obsessive?
Okay. So if you're paying, and I'll just use this example of just my weight loss thing. And again, I don't mean to compare myself to the amount of pounds that I lost, but the experience is very similar.
Yeah.
And so I was counting calories and putting them into a thing, and I was getting weighed every single day. And I could find that I'd say to my husband, I said, I could understand how people become anorexic. Okay. Because the intensity of how much I wanted to lose this weight and how much attention I was paying to it was taking up way more time than typically in my life. So because I'm aware of, I'm in the experience, but I'm also watching the experience. And this is what that level of mindfulness is about. I'm watching myself. I'm watching the way I'm thinking. And I started to notice that it was not becoming very healthy. That, you know, my husband said, you're restricting, you know, you're just eating less. And so I actually went to a nutritionist and had a great conversation with her. And she said, well, getting weight every day that's not what I want.
Not the answer.
Not the answer.
Right.
Twice a week. Can you do it twice a week? And as soon as I started to do it twice a week, I started to feel freer. You know, I'm not so focused on the food and every single thing. And, you know, and as I'm doing this over a period of time, I'm starting to know what I need to eat and what I don't need to eat. So I'm not thinking about it so much anymore. You know, it's still present, but it's not consuming. So when you notice that you're thinking about something way more than feels healthy or normal, or you're not being able to focus on your work, or you're getting short, you know, or agitated, or you're doing things that are different than what you did before. This is a signal. It's a red flag.
And I think that people should really start doing this before surgery.
Absolutely. You know, I think I told you a story. I don't know that I told it on here, but I had a client who came to me about family issues. Now, the first thing that I saw when she came into my office, she was morbidly obese. She must have been at least 350 pounds. She was about 5'2", 5'3". I didn't say a word to her about her weight, and she didn't say a word to me because that's not why she came. And we worked together for about 6 months on really dealing with the issues that were bugging her around her kids and her family and those kinds of things. And then when things got really good with her family, she turned around and she says, you know, I really want to deal with my weight. I said, great. And she was so ready. And she was so successful. She went, you know, I introduced her to a physician, and she went on a medically approved weight loss plan.
So what you're saying is you worked on all the other stuff first. And then when she then you let her say she was ready about her weight.
That's right.
I really wish surgeons would do more of that.
I know.
You know, like deal with some of the underside. So speak to the healthcare professionals, the nurses and doctors who might be watching. Like, what could we be doing better for our patients to get them ready for surgery?
Well, I would have in my book, and I think you and I talked about this, I would have a criteria of readiness. It could be an assessment test. It could be just, you know, from experience in terms of how would you deal with this and how do you deal with that and what's going on with your family and what's going on with your kids and how do you. So I would get a really good picture.
That's interesting. Like, how would you deal with it, as opposed to saying, you know, currently all we do is we send them to a one appointment with some therapist, and they do some quick testing, and yes, they're cleared for surgery, psychologically cleared. I think that's so stupid.
I agree.
I really, yeah, I think it's a waste of time, and it's an insurance mandate that really doesn't help anybody. And I like your idea about the assessment. Like, how would you handle this situation? And would it be a multiple choice test, or would it be a handwritten test, or what?
You could be anything, but again, an experienced person, I can listen to a person in 2 seconds flat, and I'm going to have a pretty good idea of where they are. If
they're ready.
And the way that I know that people are ready is their language changes, their perspective changes.
Yes, I noticed that too.
Right? I mean, even amongst the people that, you know, that you and I met together, you could hear a quality of health. You know, people had done their work. People had struggled, you know, they had been through stuff, you know, and they came out at the other end.
How do you test that? How do you quantify that on paper?
Well, I have, you know, my quiz quantifies it pretty quickly. You know, I just have focus, relaxation, dealing with negative self-talk, how to visualize, and dealing with fear. These are 5 topics that are across the board. That's universal things. And I can tell, you know, I've got a list of all the wonderful people that you know, that did that test on me. I can look at the scores. Interestingly, okay, I can look at a lot of the scores and see how low they are. And then I can also look at their commitment level and how much they're willing to do about it.
Yeah, you brought up something else.
Not a lot.
So how important is commitment to change?
Oh
I mean,
God. It's
to this process.
It's everything. It's everything.
It's so irritating to me. I mean, I hear, I want, Dr. V, I want surgery. Dr. V, I want to change. Dr. V, but then they won't do the hard work.
No. And I think that just you saying it's hard work. It's a level of, you know, paying attention and this mindfulness is the beginning of everything. I choose to become aware. I choose to pay attention. You know, I may not catch it right away, but like I choose every morning to keep a little journal, or every night to keep a little journal. And how was my mood today? How was I talking to myself? What did I notice?
People seem to think that posting about it on Facebook is actually the same as doing something about it.
You know, I say all the time, for everything that I teach, it's not, I would guarantee that every person on this talk has heard this before. You need to relax, you need to deal with stress, you need to deal with it, you know. But how many people do it? We say it's common knowledge, but not common practice. And that level of commitment starts with a choice. Because when I decided to lose weight, you could throw anything in front of me, because my desire to lose the weight was greater than the short-term whatever I was going to get from some sweet something or other. You know, and my whole life is like this, you know, wanting to have my career and what I want to achieve in my career. You know, everybody who knows me, you know, I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to do what I set out to do, and come hell or high water. You know, I like to say there's no plan B. This is my choice, and this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm committed to. I'm willing to take the hard knocks. I'm willing to get up and stand up again. And that's how people are successful.
So let's say someone's watching this and they're like, God, man, I didn't do the hard work, right? Or I should have done more. How would they get started? Like, they can't afford a therapist. They live too far from therapy. All the reasons, all
All the
excuses.
reasons, right? Exactly.
But here's one thing you could do right now. What would you tell them?
I would begin to start to pay attention to my thoughts and my
And
actions.
how do they do that?
Well, so if everybody just took a second, right this very second, we're all on this together, okay? You can close your eyes if you want. You don't have to close your eyes. And you just kind of go inside and say, what am I thinking right now?
What am I thinking? That's it.
Right now.
Okay.
And then what am I feeling right now? 2 questions.
Okay, let's do a different scenario, right? Let's say it's lunchtime. It's lunch and learn. And they're having to decide what they want to do for lunch. Walk us through that scenario.
Okay. So I'm gonna do it myself. All right. So I'm just gonna, kind of put myself in that shoe because it's my lunchtime too. Okay. So I notice that I'm hungry.
Okay.
Time to eat. Okay. And okay, so and then
let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. What if you're not hungry, but it's your lunch break and you've been conditioned to think that you need to eat?
Well, if that's true, then I'm going to adjust what I eat given my level of hunger.
Okay.
So if I'm not hungry and I'm working in a job where I have from 12 to 1 or whatever, I don't have any other time to eat, I'm going to decide what's the healthiest thing for me to eat right now that's going to do the least amount of damage.
The healthiest thing that does the least amount of damage.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm committed to stopping with what I have chosen. Again, a lot of weight loss stuff is all about preparation. It's preparing your meals, but it's also preparing your mindset.
Oh, I love that.
Right?
I love that. Yeah. Meal prep for your mind.
Meal prep for your mind.
I love that.
When I know that I'm eating out or I'm not in control of all the ingredients that are in my house, I'll look at a menu ahead of time before I go out to dinner, or I'll make a choice before I go out to dinner, whether I'm going to have dessert, whether I'm not going to have dessert.
Yeah, because a lot of the things people would say to you right now would be like, oh, but Tina, you don't understand. I only have 30 minutes to eat. I'm a busy school teacher. There's not good choices in the cafeteria, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. If my commitment to myself is to eat healthfully, it's greater than the options of how I can rationalize. Okay, this is greater. And this happens to me all the time. I go out to lunch, I go to a meeting or something, and they're serving pizza.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm very hungry. So I know I need to eat, but I don't need to eat 3 pieces. I need to eat just enough to kind of cut my hunger. Okay, so that maybe 2 or 3 hours later, I can have something else that's healthy. And I'll eat that, And so I'm always looking at the whole big picture. What's the day look like?
So what were those 2 questions again? What am I
thinking and what am I feeling?
Okay. So right now, everybody watching just needs to start saying, what am I thinking and what am I feeling? What am I feeling? So let me play the patient, right? I'm thinking I need to eat lunch. I need to make a food choice, and I'm feeling nervous and anxious because I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to screw up surgery. Like I'm going to regain weight. So talk me through that.
Okay,
I'm feeling anxious.
I'm feeling anxious. So the next question is, what am I feeling anxious about? Can I
screw
can
up?
I name
I don't
it?
have any good choices.
Okay, and so is that true? Is that really true?
Is that really true?
Okay.
So the third question, is that true?
Right. And another question I ask myself, is this a rational thought?
Is this a rational thought?
Or am I making it up?
But when you're going through it, you do think it's a rational thought. You really do
have if you stop
anxiety.
And think, no, the anxiety is real. Okay, but that I don't have any choices. Is that a rational thought? Is it really true? Even if I'm eating in the lunchroom cafeteria. Okay, where's the protein? What can I find that doesn't have a lot of carbs?
There's always some healthy choices.
There's always a choice.
We get distracted by the
rationalization. We rationalize how it is that we can't do this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's walk through the scenario. I like this game.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Back to the transfer addiction. All right. I survived lunch. I made a relatively healthy choice of a salad with some protein on top. Yes.
Right.
But man, work was just stressful. It was just another day, or it could just be an average day. But now it's Friday evening, and I get home.
Right.
And I just really want to open up that bottle of wine.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah. Okay. And so
how do we do that?
And so, and this is another key thing. What are the consequences if I do that? See, what we do with any kind of addiction is we do what's immediate for this immediate gratification to take away this feeling or whatever it is that we're feeling.
I love that.
Right? So in order to go beyond addiction, we have to be able to throw our thoughts forward into what are the consequences of me doing this? And do I choose to accept those consequences? This is the key to really managing just about anything.
But that's really growing up too. Am I willing to live?
Yeah, it really is. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, viewers. It's time to grow the fuck up. Is what Tina's saying. Am I willing to live with those consequences? Am I willing to? All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate one more time, then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
But sometimes those consequences are so small.
Okay.
That you don't notice it until 10 years later when you're 100 pounds overweight. But you don't really gain that much weight from eating one chocolate chip cookie or drinking 2 glasses of wine. But you compound that up.
That's right.
Over 10 years. Now you're fat. So,
right.
So I'm willing to live with the consequence for right now.
Right.
And I'll stop tomorrow.
Is that true? Is that true? You know, who are you kidding? Is that really true? Will you stop tomorrow? So again, I have a lot of principles that I work with over and over and over again. And as you know, you get to know me, you hear them over and over again, but it's really about, I'm going to be brutally honest with myself. If I were to be brutally honest, the truth, what's the truth? Am I really going to stop tomorrow? And I don't know anybody who's a compulsive overeater that eats one cookie. It's usually a bag of cookies.
Right.
You know.
And I'll take it back to the sexuality part, you know. I mean, when you're in that moment, it seems like a good idea at the bar, but the next morning when you wake up with a stranger,
does that feel so good?
You don't feel so good, right?
Right. So before I walk into that bar,
parts of your body start itching. You're like, why am I itching down here?
Yeah. So
I get scared.
That's right. So before you walk into the bar, you make a decision. How much am I going to drink? Is the drinking dangerous for me? If I drink more than one drink, can I stop?
I'm going to go home with my friend.
I'm going to go home with my friends, right? Because again, once we start using a substance, we become much more vulnerable because we don't have our really good sense with us. So we have to plan ahead. We have to sort of see the possibilities. You know, be really, really honest with yourself. If I'm going to walk into this bar, you know, I'm going to make a decision to leave with my friends, no matter what.
So, last question. I started off by reading off a statement from the Obesity Action Coalition blog that said 30%, up to 30% of patients who've had bariatric surgery suffer from transfer addiction. I kind of think that's probably because we did not prepare them enough for surgery.
I agree.
We don't give them the tools. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, 100%.
So therefore, transfer addictions can be completely avoided if we just did the hard work.
Absolutely. Yes? And if the person who's wanting the bariatric surgery agrees to doing the hard work, you as the doctor or me as the therapist, you know, I can only do so much. I can provide anything that you want that's going to help you be able to stop, but you have to, the patient has to be willing to do the hard work.
That's excellent. Excellent.
You know,
awesome. Well, Go ahead.
The last thing, a lot of times people say to me, and they say to you, I'm sure, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then they go ahead and they do everything that's contrary to them being successful. And I say, I do know how to help you, but you tie my hands behind my back.
Oh, I love that. I want to help you, but you tie your hand behind
you
my
tie
back.
my hands behind my because
my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. Okay, so let's try this.
I want to help you.
You come back next week. Have you done anything? No. Well, what did we talk about last week? Or what did you suggest? I can't remember. Not my job. It's not my job.
All right. Well, this has been maybe my favorite talk. It was very interesting. You did a great job.
Always.
So good. Now, if people wanted to follow you, how would they get a hold of you, Tina Greenbaum?
Tina at tinagreenbaum.com is my email. This is my book, this Mastery Under Pressure, that you can get on Amazon. And you can take my quiz, which is masteryunderpressure.net. And this gives us, honestly, a lot of really good data for Dr. Vuong and I to actually help you more. And so it's masteryunderpressure.net. And what else?
Yeah.
My
We've
website.
Also been,
yeah.
Your website. And then, as a surprise, we've been working on a project, Tina and I have been. So we've been putting together an online course with some great videos that Tina's lecturing for you. Now, when you do a therapy session, like you said in an earlier example, that lady was on therapy with you for 6 months, that gets pretty pricey.
It does get pricey. It does get pricey.
You're a couple $100 an hour.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And ways to kind of get beyond that, or away from that. Number one is I have a group program. If I had enough people to put together a group, I would definitely lower the price somewhat, but still.
Yeah. But we're doing an online course on binge eating.
That's right. We have, and that's definitely affordable. Definitely affordable.
We're going to try to put that out for a Mother's Day special in 2 weeks. So if you're interested on signing up for that special, just put yes in the comment section. Just put yes. So that way we can follow up with you when the course is ready to send you a reminder. Right. We're shooting for something under $100 though, right?
Yes, we are, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's really chock full of a lot of the things that we're talking about.
Yes.
And I kind of make it really clear of things that you can do in every single one of the videos and the ways to think. And honestly, skills. Yeah, a lot of skill. I'm a big believer in skill building. Because I do believe that the reason that people suffer so much is because they haven't learned. They haven't learned these skills. These skills are teachable. I would say that good mental health is not a natural sport. It's a learned sport. Yeah,
we're getting a lot of yeses. So I think that's an amazing offer. Mother's Day launch, under $100, probably under $50. I'm not even sure.
What kind of?
I'm trying to do. I think I'm going to do a 1 weekend special for under $50. But I don't know. I'm trying to talk Tina into that. She doesn't want to. I told her my following are a bunch of cheap asses.
Well, the goal here
is to help as many people.
To help as many people as we possibly can, so that so many of you can be really successful, that you can afford the more expensive programs.
So Lisa Irwin wants to know, will there be worksheets to download?
Not in this one. We haven't provided that.
I think we can make that happen.
I think we can make that happen. We can make that happen. I think
worksheets. There will definitely be quizzes. So, so in case you guys don't know, I'm the one actually putting the course together. She shot her videos, but I'm editing them. They're amazing. They're beautiful. B-roll, the whole thing. And then I'll put it up on my platform. There will be quizzes to take at the end of each video. So make sure you learn the knowledge. Tina will look it over, and then we should be able to do some simple downloadable PDF, worksheets. Be easy.
Yes.
Assessments.
Yes. I have stuff that we could work with. Yeah, you had some graphics and stuff we talked about too, so I think that'd be awesome. All right, so we got 42% people said absolutely yes, 54% says depends on price. You're not going to get any cheaper than this Mother's Day special. This is what I also want to say about pricing thing. If you find something valuable, Sometimes we have to work for it. We have to save for it. We have to work for it.
Can't be free.
You know, I have spent,
I absolutely
honestly,
agree.
everything, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars of money that I didn't really have at the time, but I saved for it because it was so valuable to me.
Yeah, I do
And
the
it's,
same.
again, it's a mindset. It's a mindset. I can do this. How can I do it?
Yep. So that's coming out in 2 weeks. Check it out. All right. So I'm going to wrap that up there, Tina. I think
Thank
we have
you.
one more next week. We'll figure out what we want to talk about next week, and then we'll release the course.
There we go. All
There you
right.
go.
All right.
All right.
Juicy
Thanks, Tina.
topics. Bye, everybody. Take
Yep.
care now. Bye-bye.
All right. How amazing was that? Man, some mind-blowing conversation about transfer addictions, and the main takeaway was that transfer addictions can be absolutely avoided if you would just do the hard work. If the surgeons, if the programs would just require more from you guys. Now, it's amazing to me that Tina said she has a simple little question and answer form that you can go for free, take it for free on her website, tinagreenbaum.com or masteryunderpressure.com, and she can just tell if you're not only like where you are with your anxiety and headspace, but also your commitment level. Now, put a 1 in the comment section if you think that every bariatric program in the world needs to send all of their patients to Tina's free online assessment. I just had this like aha just while talking to her. Put a 1 in the comment section if every program in the world needs to send their patients to Tina Greenbaum's online assessment just to see where they stood, just to see where their patients stood. I mean, crazy, right? Crazy. So you guys need to help me. If you just hit share right now, man, there should be 100 shares of this video once I get off. Right? There should be. There has to be. Listen, Dr. V is not a person. Dr. V is a community. And because you've been hitting 1, because you wrote the word yes, we have to share this community. We have to share Tina Greenbaum. Tina, I'll tell you her age. Don't tell her I told you, but she is 71 years old. Can you believe Tina is 70? She doesn't look 71 to me. But my point is, she doesn't got, she's at the end of the toilet paper, man. Like, she doesn't have as much time. We have to do more to get her message and her knowledge out into the real world. 35-year history of working with obesity patients. She's 71. This is her last hurrah. I mean, this launch, this online course, yes, Way Jose, yes, Tina is 71 years old. This could be her last little opportunity to make a difference in her life and her career. It makes me want to cry. Come on now. So you got to share this information, Comment, what did you take away? Just put it in there. What was your big takeaway, Am I willing to live from the consequences, right? The 3 questions. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And the 3rd question, is it true? Is it true? Yes, I said she's at the end of the toilet paper roll. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes, man. The faster it goes. So we got to do what we can. I'm going to tell you, do not miss out on this Mother's Day launch next week. All right, next week or 2 weeks. I don't even know. Hold on. Next week, Mother's Day. It'll be leading up to that weekend. I'm gonna talk her. I'm gonna try to talk her down in price. I got her under $100. I got her at 97, but I think for Mother's Day special, I'm gonna get her down below $50. You will not get any cheaper next week than $50. All right, and so don't miss out on that. The videos are great. I'm always blown away because I'm the one editing her videos. So this online course is amazing. All right, Sharon Lewis, my takeaway, I was not taught that what the hard work actually is. Absolutely, absolutely. The hard work, man. It is everything. All right, I have to go. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing. Kathy Brunix, paying attention to my thoughts and actions. Be in the present. Oh, what was that? Depression is present. Something. Who remembers something in the presence? I forgot. Okay. What am I thinking? What am I saying? Is it true? Yeah, $50. Please go 50. $50. It's exactly. Sherelle Morris, it is never too late to do this work. Absolute. A lack of presence. Depressed presence. That's it. Thank you, Letitia Romano. Depressed presence. Depression is depressed presence. How powerful is that, man? You know, even in all of when I was doing a psychiatry rotation, no one ever put it that way. No one ever put it that way. And how powerful is that? So, for the 45, 50 of y'all still watching, please do me a favor. Please hit share right now, right as I hit the finish button. I'm going to hit the finish button, and you're going to hit the share button. Hi, Dr. Vuong here. If you loved that video, I hope you will check out velocity2020.com. I want to meet you in person. This is my big annual conference in Vegas. It's amazing. It's not just about weight loss surgery, but it's about taking your life up to the next level. You're going to meet the best people, the best speakers, the best audience possible. You're going to really take your life up to the next level. 2020 is all about vision, clarity, and focus. We're going to show you how to find your vision, what you really want to do with your life, get crystal clear, clarity, and then find your laser focus to do what you need to do to have the amazing life that you deserve. Hope to see you there.